I almost feel like crying. This is amazing. I feel like I'm in the vortex, and I love being there. But sometimes I can't.
You can't get in or you can't stay in?
I can't stay in.
Well, then that's the appropriate way to feel. You see, here's the thing. You couldn't feel that way if you hadn't created it and been in it plenty. In other words, if you'd never been in the vortex, you'd be saying, tell me about the stupid vortex, Abraham. You wouldn't have this emotional feeling about it. You see, if you hadn't tasted it, if you hadn't felt the full expansion of who you are, then not being there wouldn't be bothering you. And the fact that you're bothered is really a wonderful thing, because it means you care about who you are and you care about being up to speed with who you are. So it's a good thing. Do you follow that? Do you know that you could never feel negative emotion about anything if you hadn't expanded and aren't going? In other words, if you don't expand and you don't go, you don't care. But if you expand and you don't go, you care. If someone called you on the telephone and said, hello, you don't know me. I'm just calling to tell you I will never call you again. You would say, thanks for letting me know. But you would suffer not at all. But when you've been in the vortex and now you say, I'm not in the vortex, of course it feels like that. That's a really, really, really good thing. Now, you don't for a moment believe that you don't have ready access to your vortex, do you? You don't believe that you don't have the knowledge and the understanding and the way in. So what were you proclaiming here? Just your awareness that you're lazy? What is that?
I think that I just want to understand how to have that consistent self-discipline to stay in the vortex.
But you see, here's the thing. This is the thing that we really wanted that earlier conversation to spark within you, and it did. When we say, hold back the fists, that takes discipline. When somebody's asking for it and you don't punch their lights out, that takes discipline, doesn't it? When somebody really deserves for you to give them a piece of your mind and you don't do it, ooh, that takes discipline, doesn't it? In other words, and we don't want you to have to use discipline because we don't want you to have to buck your own current. When you are in the vortex, it takes no discipline to stay in the vortex once you've been hanging around in there for a while. You know what replaces discipline? Law of attraction. Law of attraction replaces discipline. When you tune yourself to the frequency of who you really are, it's easy. Do you see people at the top of their game struggling to stay there? What about those handful of actors that get all the big gigs? Does it look like hard work to them? Or are they on that short list that all the studios call first? And it's what makes people who aren't getting called proclaim injustice. But it's not injustice. It's vibrational alignment. It's law of attraction. They've been winning. They expect to win. There is nothing other than expectation of winning in their vibration. And so they continue to win. And that's all we're talking about here. But there is this gap. That's a term we use, and a term that you used right back to us just now. There sometimes is a gap between where you really want to hang out and where you often do hang out. And you're right, you have to overcome that gap. But let's not try to use discipline. Let's use the leverage of the law of attraction. Sound good? So what that means is use anything that's easy to get in the vortex and then milk it. And then your random thoughts will eventually come and the vortex will spit you out. No problem. Use anything that's easy to get into the vortex and milk it. And then some random thought will come and the vortex will spit you out. But then just use any random thought that feels good to get into the vortex and milk it. And once you understand this and once you milk it, once you begin beating the drum of how good your life is and beating the drum of how much you've learned and beating the drum of how far you've come and beating the drum of how glad you are that you know about law of attraction and beating the drum of how the universe is yielding to you, yielding to you, yielding to you, yielding to you. Once you begin beating the drum of that and making it predominantly active until it's chronic in your vibration, now you have leveraged the energy that creates worlds, and then you're not talking about self-discipline. You're just talking about how can I most effectively ride this fast-moving, good-feeling, highly productive, creative wave.
Absolutely.
So we've been teasing about these affirmation cards because so many people, these cards are called money and the law of attraction. Wonderful to affirm. So let's say you're outside the vortex because not enough money has been coming. You are worried about it. So you buy these brilliant cards written by source, infinite in intelligence, and you decide that you are going to use your discipline to get into the vortex. Rather than complaining, I will focus on positive aspects. I can set my own standards for financial well-being. Sure I can. The law of attraction responds to my vibration. Who writes this stuff? Oh, here's a good one. We are each responsible for the thoughts we think. I hate that one most of all. Oh, here's a good one. My life is as good as I allow it to be. Yeah, right. Now, what we're getting at here, we think you're getting our sarcastic point. When you are outside the vortex and you want to be in, almost anything you do to get in is just annoying.
Yep. Absolutely.
Aren't these things irritating when you're not in the vortex?
Yeah.
It's like rubbing it in. Oh yeah, universe, rub it in. Rub it in. Make me feel even dumber than I did before.
Absolutely.
But from inside the vortex, if you happen to wake up and see a sunrise that just blows you away, or if your favorite song comes on and catches you in that moment and you just feel so in love, or if your daughter walks into the room and just lights it up when she comes in, or the cat jumps up in your lap and just purrs as you stroke it, there are so many things that take you into the vortex, and that's when you want to reach for your affirmations. That's when you want to milk being in the vortex. When you are in the vortex and you are reading the affirmations, you are do 100% of your affirming from inside the vortex. That's really what we're getting at here. That's really what the message has been all day here today. Get in. Now, do any of you believe that you could go a whole day and not be in the vortex?